What's going on, everybody? My name is David Delano. Welcome to another week of Rockets Daily, brought to you by Fan Arts. Thanks so much for each and every person, whether you're listening here on YouTube or no matter where you consume your podcast. Thanks so much for rocking with us. I got week one, just had week zero of college football. We're looking at roster cuts and starting to look at some meaningful NFL football. Week one coming up and approaching soon, but you're here with Rockets Daily, and I definitely appreciate that. All the comments, everyone who's been enjoying the history segment in any segment, thanks so much for allowing us to be a part of your day. Getting close to meaningful basketball, and meaningful basketball coming up closer than you think, and it's going to start with the Eurobasket here 2025. Alperen Şengün's playing for the Turkish national team, and that's definitely going to be something to see. They got 5 games in group play. Now, we've talked about how hard it is to watch the Rockets if you live in Houston. Not the best, not the most accessible as far as watching this Eurobasket. I believe you can watch it on the FIBA app. We'll see. It starts on August 27 with Latvia taking on Turkey. Well, it's the first game for Turkey. I'm just going to focus on the schedule for Turkey. I believe there's about 24 to 30 teams in this tournament, but I'm going to focus here with Şengün and some of the matchups as we'll be following him along. But that first game, August 27th, plays the Czech Republic. I believe it's 11 a.m. Eastern time. Sorry, 11 a.m. Central time, noon Eastern time. Then you got 8:45 Eastern time. Roughly speaking, sometimes these games get staggered a little bit based off the time of the first game. But Turkey will play Czech Republic on August 29th. They'll take on Portugal on August 30th. Take on Estonia on September 1st. And really the game that's going to be the one that I really would like to see more than any of these is going to be the game against Turkey, where Şengün gets to go toe-to-toe, we're expecting, with Nikola Jokic and Serbia on September 3rd. So, if you're a Rockets fan, if you're just a fan of basketball, as far as what we get at this point of the year, that Turkey-Serbia matchup on September 3rd, is something that you might want to circle on your calendar. That's September 3rd, scheduled tentatively to be about 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:15 if you are in Houston, Texas. So let me know if there's anybody out there who've been watching even some of the games leading into this for Turkey, and if there's anyone out there, even all over the world, let us know if you've been following this. If you're in Turkey, I've been to Turkey before, been to Istanbul one time. Chime in if there's any Turkey followers on this channel, and thanks so much for being with us here. Next thing that we're gonna dive into, really briefly, because it kind of is getting. I mean, this is something that's kind of the elephant in the room that's being talked about. As far as Kevin Durant in the final year of the 4-year, $194 million contract. He is set to make $54 million this season. And after that, I mean, technically, he can become a free agent. He said he's open to signing an extension with Houston. Now, we're going to just go, there's an update that came out here. Just Brian Windhorst reporting here. He said that the days of Kevin Durant automatically getting a max deal might be behind him. So Houston has a little flexibility in what they can offer, but I really don't. I mean, it's one of those stories I got to talk about. I really don't see how the deal doesn't get done on either side. We'll see how this season plays out, and let me know, do you really think that there's the pressure? I don't personally feel the pressure to get this deal done before the season begins. I mean, we see how these things kind of play out. If Durant wants to be in Houston, he's going to be in Houston even beyond this season. I mean, think about it. I mean, he basically forced that trade from the Suns. Sometimes think about it, Durant almost as a free agent signing, but he wasn't. He was required in a trade. Point being, when these superstars are unhappy, they want to get out, he basically he forced his way out of Phoenix. I'm not saying he was wrong for that either. And Houston was a destination that he wanted to go to. So sometimes we look at these extensions and get 38 years old. Is Kevin Durant really going to be playing somewhere that he doesn't want to play? So both sides for the Rockets, whether it's that, a 2-year $100 million, 2-year $122 million. I think if Durant and the Rockets, if it's a mutual fit, beyond this season, and it's hard to see that it would not be. I think that's the best case scenario to give it 2 seasons and go into that regardless of what happens this season. I don't see Durant not being here. So that's just my personal take on that. And another thing here we'll talk about, I'm going to dive more into this full interview, but Rafael Stone talked to ESPN Houston, talked about Giannis and the Giannis trade rumors. That was something we talked about early on in the offseason, and it was a hot topic in a lot of different platforms. So he pretty much put those rumors to bed on this interview because who knows? Depending on how this season goes, it could be something that if we don't get off to the start as expected and Milwaukee doesn't play well early on, it's rumors that could pop back up. But he did say ESPN Houston, he basically confirmed he had a conversation with the Bucks GM, and he said, according to Stone, the message was pretty clear that Giannis is not being traded. A direct quote, he said, "No, I deal well with," talking about the GM for the Bucks. He said, "I really like him." John was very clear that they weren't doing anything, so that was that. Obviously, got to take Stone's word for it because Giannis has not been moved, and he hasn't publicly tried to force his way out of Milwaukee or anything. But all things can change. A slow start for Milwaukee, maybe sluggish start for Houston. We will see. Sometimes stranger things have happened. And then we're going to go ahead now and continue our Rockets history, 1996-1997 season. So after the back-to-back championships, we talked about the 95-96 season where the Bulls had 72 wins, and it was a bit of a disappointing season for the Houston Rockets. But 96-97 was a strong season overall that fell just short. You had in the offseason, we talked about Sam Cassell. After a very, very strong 3 years, he was traded with Robert Horry, Mark Bryant, and Chucky Brown. They were traded to the Phoenix Suns, but the Rockets got Charles Barkley back in return, looking to rebuild, as far as, not really rebuild, but retune really in a win-now mode with Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, Mario Elie on the roster to lead the way on paper. And it's a strong season overall. Rockets tied with the Seattle Supersonics for the second best record in the West, 57-25. Number one seed that year was the Utah Jazz, who went 64-18. And just for the record here, as far as we talk about, they talk so much about how the Rockets would match up with the Bulls. It went 1-1 against the Chicago Bulls that season, but a little bit of one of the seasons started very, very, very strong. Rockets got off to a 21-2 start to the season and a 15-1 start. Then things got a little bit more shaky. Went 3 and 5 over the next 8 games there. But overall, Rockets got a 32-10 start, then ran into a 6-game losing streak, lost 8 out of 9 games. So weren't able to be strong enough to hold on to the number 1 seed. Ended up being the number 2 seed, as mentioned. Went into the playoffs, though, strong. Swept the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round and got a lot of help outside of just Olajuwon. Elie led the team with 21 points in scoring in the first game. Kevin Willis led the team with 13 rebounds. Charles Barkley gets forgotten a lot. around the NBA about his years in Houston because it didn't end in a championship, but 20 points and 15 rebounds to lead the way in Game 2 against Minnesota. And then the Rockets completed the sweep over the Timberwolves in the first round. Conference semifinals was a lot tougher. Rockets took a 3-1 lead against the Seattle Supersonics. Houston did have the home court advantage. Seattle bounced back, won Game 5 in Houston, won a tight Game 6 in Seattle. But the Rockets prevailed 96-91 in Game 7 and then went to the Western Conference Finals. Rockets would drop the first 2 games on the road against the Utah Jazz, would win the next 2 games here in Houston, but then lost Game 5 in Houston. Lost Game 5 in Utah and then Game 6 in Houston. So Utah Jazz went on to the NBA Finals and played the Chicago Bulls, and the Chicago Bulls would end up winning that championship. So for the regular season, you had Elijah Wan leading the way with 23.2 points per game, 9.2 rebounds. Barkley led the team in rebounding, averaged 13.5 rebounds per game, 19.2 points. But Barkley's played in 53 out of the 82 games, and Drexler played in 62 out of the 82 games, averaging 18 points per game. So didn't get full games out of Barkley or Drexler, and kind of led to some of the issues mid-season that prevented the Rockets from having home court advantage in that series against the Jazz. In the playoffs, Elijah Wan led the way with 23.1 points per game, just under 11 boards. Barkley, 12 boards per game, just under 18 points in the playoffs, and Drexler, 18.1 points per game. So this is a little bit of a forgotten season, just in the sense that a lot of times those championships get remembered. Barkley's run in Houston gets we'll see. Let me know what your memories are in the comments for those who are really locked in at those times. But yeah, off a 21-2 start. Western Conference Finals. So strong season overall, but man, so close as far as what could have been. But overall, still one of the more successful seasons in Rockets history. Thank you so much for sticking with us here through this segment of Rockets history. Let me know if you are going to be watching the Eurobasket with the FIBA app or anything else, and anything else that is on your mind. Thanks so much for watching. God bless and be safe out there.